Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're kicking things off with a brand new series today. It's our very first author spotlight. I am so excited to introduce all of you to Laura Lawwonder.
Yeah, and even before we really dive into her books, I think, what's really fascinating about Laura Lalonder is her name. It really captures the essence of her work.
Right. Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so Laura itself is rooted in the idea of victory and resilience,
Hmm.
kind of overcoming challenges. And then you have Law Wonder, which invokes this sense of transformation and self-discovery.
It's true. It's almost like setting the stage
Yeah.
for the kind of journey that her books offer.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of her books, she has quite the collection available on Amazon. Let's see. We've got Wired and Worn, Overcoming Anxiety in the Digital Age, The Practice of Intentional Listening, The Resilient Mind, Aligned with the Universe, The Love Habit, 33 Principles of Power and Influence, and Fearless and Irresistible, Becoming Unforgettable. Whoa, that's a lot.
That's quite a range. Just even looking at the titles, you can see the themes she explores. Resilience, mindfulness, relationships, personal power. It seems like there's something for everyone.
It's like a buffet for the soul. So, before we dive deeper into each book in future episodes, I'm curious, what are some of the things you've noticed in Laura Lawwonder's work? Like maybe common threads or overarching messages?
One thing that really stands out is her focus on actionable steps. She doesn't just present these abstract concepts or lofty ideals. She provides concrete tools and strategies, things that people can implement in their lives, to actually create change.
Right, it's not just about reading and feeling inspired, but actually taking action.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got a taste of Laura Lawwonder's philosophy and the transformative potential of her work. Now let's dive into her first book, Wired and Worn, Overcoming Anxiety in the Digital Age. This feels particularly relevant in today's world.
Absolutely. It's a really timely topic,
Yeah.
and Laura explores the unique challenges of navigating anxiety in our hyper-connected world.
Right. It's like
Mhm.
we're constantly plugged in, always on,
Yeah.
and it's taking its toll. But what I appreciate about Laura's approach is she doesn't advocate for ditching technology completely.
Right. That would be pretty unrealistic.
Yeah.
Instead, she provides these strategies and tools for creating a healthier relationship with technology.
Okay. So tell me more about these digital boundaries. What do they look like in practice?
It's about making conscious choices,
Right.
when, where, and how you engage with technology. It could be like establishing tech-free zones in your home,
Hmm.
setting limits on social media use, or simply being more mindful of how technology impacts your, mood and energy
So
levels.
it's not about becoming a Luddite. It's about being more intentional, finding that balance.
Exactly. And Laura, she doesn't just talk about the what, she actually gives you the how, like how to establish these boundaries, making it easier for people to implement these changes.
Right. And another important element is the practice of mindfulness.
Yes.
So how does mindfulness play into managing anxiety in a digital world?
Well, we're constantly bombarded with information, notifications, emails, social media updates. It's easy to get swept away in this whirlwind of distractions. And mindfulness helps us become more present, more aware of our thoughts and feelings, more grounded in the present
It's
moment.
like hitting the pause button,
Uh,
reconnecting with ourselves.
Precisely.
Okay, so Laura goes beyond surface level tips. She actually delves into the deeper psychological and emotional factors.
Exactly. And that's key because by addressing those, underlying alleys, it really empowers people to create lasting change.
It's about getting to the heart of the matter, not just treating the symptoms.
Right.
So it's a holistic approach. Now, before we wrap up our discussion of Wired and Worn, what's the one takeaway you think listeners should hold on to?
You have the power to choose how you engage with technology. We don't have to be slaves to our devices. We can create a digital life that supports our well-being.
I love that. Okay, so we've delved into Wired and Worn and explored um, Laura's insightful approach to managing digital anxiety. Now let's shift gears and dive into our next book, The Practice of Intentional Listening. In a world where everyone seems to be talking and no one's listening, the art of truly hearing and understanding others feels more valuable than ever.
I completely agree.
So it's not just about hearing the words, but understanding the meaning behind them.
Exactly. And she presents a unique approach. It's a 30-day guide filled with actionable exercises. So you become more aware of your own listening habits, identify barriers to effective listening, and develop techniques to truly hear and understand others.
A 30-day challenge for better communication. I love that.
Yeah, it makes it more tangible.
Right, and achievable.
And it's not just about becoming a better listener, it's about transforming your relationships.
It makes sense. When we feel truly heard, It creates a sense of trust, intimacy, and connection.
Absolutely.
Now, before we move on, what stood out to you most?
The emphasis on nonverbal communication. We often focus on the words people say, but Laura highlights the importance of paying attention to body language, tone of voice, and other subtle cues.
It's about tuning into those unspoken messages, listening with all our senses, not just our ears.
Exactly.
So we've covered wired and worn and the practice of intentional listening. Now, let's move on to Laura's next book, The Resilient Mind. This one sounds particularly intriguing because resilience is such a vital quality, especially today.
Absolutely. And this book is like a treasure trove of tools and strategies for navigating those inevitable life challenges, and you come out stronger and wiser.
It's like a survival guide for the soul.
Exactly. And what's unique is that it's not just a theoretical thing, it's a reflective guide and a workbook journal.
So it's more interactive.
Yes, it invites the reader to actively engage with the material.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like having a personal coach guiding you.
Exactly.
Okay, before we move on, what were some of the key takeaways for you from The Resilient Mind? What resonated with you most?
For me, it was the power of reframing our experiences. We often get caught up in negative thought patterns and limiting beliefs. But Laura encourages us to challenge those and to look for the lessons and the opportunities.
It's about shifting our perspective, choosing to see the good, even in difficult situations.
Exactly. We have more control over our thoughts and feelings than we often realize.
Okay, so we've got wired and worn, the practice of intentional listening, and the resilient mind. Now, let's move on to Laura's next book, Aligned with the Universe. This one sounds particularly intriguing.
Yes, it's a fascinating exploration. It invites us to tap into a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment.
Connecting with something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly.
Right.
And Laura emphasizes the importance of trusting the journey, even when things feel uncertain.
That sense of faith and surrender. Knowing that even when we can't see the whole picture, there's a greater plan.
Exactly. It's often in those moments of surrender that we experience the greatest breakthroughs.
It's about letting go, trusting the process.
And what's so powerful about this book is that Laura provides really practical tools. She offers exercises for connecting with your intuition, practices for manifesting your desires, and strategies for navigating life's challenges, but with grace and ease.
So it's not just like esoteric concepts.
Right.
It's about grounded practices.
It's about bringing these principles into our daily lives.
Okay, before we move on, I want to hear your thoughts on Aligned with the Universe. What were some of the key takeaways for you? What resonated most deeply?
The reminder that we're not separate from the universe. We're an integral part of it. We're all connected, and that connection is a source of immense power and support.
It's about recognizing that we're not alone. We're part of something much grander.
Exactly. And we can tap into that universal energy at any time simply by tuning in, surrendering, and trusting the journey.
Okay, so we've covered wired and worn, the practice of intentional listening, the resilient mind, and aligned with the universe. Now, let's dive into Laura's next book, The Love Habit.
This book is a delightful exploration of how small actions can create this ripple effect of love and positivity in our lives and relationships.
It's about those seemingly insignificant gestures.
Exactly. And what's so brilliant is that she breaks down the concept of love into really simple habits that we can, easily incorporate into our daily routine.
So it's about turning love into a practice.
Exactly.
So give me some examples. What are some of the love habits Laura suggests in the book?
One of the habits she emphasizes is practicing gratitude. It could be as simple as taking a few moments to appreciate, the good things in your life, maybe writing a thank you note, or simply expressing appreciation.
Shifting our focus from what's lacking to what we already have.
Exactly. It's not just about feeling grateful. It's about expressing that gratitude.
Right, because sometimes a simple thank you can make someone's whole day.
Exactly. And another habit she explores is practicing random acts of kindness. This could be, anything from holding the door open to paying for someone's coffee to, volunteering.
It's about those little gestures, those random acts that can make a big difference.
Exactly. It's not about expecting anything in return. It's about the joy of giving.
It's about those selfless acts.
And what's so powerful about this book is that Laura emphasizes that these small acts of love are not just for others, they're for ourselves as well.
So it's about practicing self-love.
Exactly.
Okay, before we move on, what stood out to you most from The Love Habit? What were some of the key takeaways for you?
For me, it was the reminder that love is not just a feeling, it's an action. It's something we choose to cultivate, to nurture, to express, both in big ways and small.
It's about making that conscious choice to bring more love, one small act at a time.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference, just by choosing to be a little kinder, a little more compassionate, a little more loving.
Okay, so we've got wired and worn, the practice of intentional listening, the resilient mind, aligned with the universe, and the love habit. Now, let's dive into Laura's next book, 33 Principles of Power and Influence. This one sounds particularly intriguing.
It's a fascinating exploration of the dynamics of power and influence, and it offers practical strategies for leading authentically, inspiring others, and achieving your goals.
It's about that inner strength, that charisma.
Exactly. And what's so unique about Laura's take on this is that it's not about manipulating others. It's not about power
Right.
grabs.
It's not about using power over others.
It's about approaching power and influence from a place of integrity, really emphasizing authenticity, empathy, and service.
So it's about using your power for good.
Exactly. And Laura breaks down these principles into bite-sized chunks, offering specific examples and actionable strategies.
Tell me more about the principles. What are some of the key takeaways?
One of the core principles is the importance of self-awareness. True power comes from understanding your own strengths, your weaknesses, values, and motivations.
It's about knowing yourself, operating from a place of congruence.
Exactly. Another key principle is the importance of building relationships. True influence comes from genuine connection, trust, and mutual respect.
It's about those win-win scenarios where everyone feels valued.
Precisely. It's not about using people, it's about creating authentic connections that empower everyone.
So it's about fostering collaboration.
Exactly.
Another principle is effective communication.
Yes.
So she offers practical strategies for clearly articulating ideas, inspiring others, negotiating.
It's about mastering the art of persuasion, but in a way that feels authentic and respectful.
It's about understanding the power of language, storytelling.
Right. And it's important to remember that power and influence are not reserved for a select few. They're accessible to everyone.
It's about recognizing that we all have the potential to be leaders, to make a difference.
Exactly.
Okay, before we move on, I'm curious, what stood out to you most from 33 Principles of Power and Influence? What were some of the key takeaways for you?
The emphasis on authenticity. True power comes from being yourself, embracing your unique qualities, operating from a place of integrity.
It's about letting your true self shine through,
Right.
because that's where your real power lies.
Exactly. And it's about using your power and influence for good, for creating a more just, compassionate, and equitable world.
Okay, we've covered wired and worn, the practice of intentional listening, the resilient mind, aligned with the universe, the love habit, and 33 Principles of Power and Influence. Now let's dive into Laura's final book, Fearless and Irresistible, Becoming Unforgettable. This one sounds particularly inspiring.
It's a powerful guide to unleashing your inner confidence, embracing your strengths, and becoming, the most magnetic and unforgettable version of yourself.
Stepping into your power, owning your worth, radiating that irresistible energy.
Exactly. And what's so unique about this book is that it's not about trying to fit into a mold. It's about embracing your individuality, celebrating your quirks. Let your true self shine.
So it's about finding your own unique brand of confidence.
Exactly.
Okay, so tell me more about the strategies. What are some of the key takeaways Laura shares?
One of the core strategies is identifying and challenging your limiting beliefs. We all have these negative thoughts, self-sabotaging patterns that hold us back.
It's about recognizing those inner critics.
Exactly. And it's about challenging those beliefs, replacing them with more empowering thoughts and affirmations.
So it's about rewiring our thinking.
Precisely. Another key strategy is setting clear goals and taking action. She argues that confidence comes from taking risks, pushing ourselves outside our comfort zones, and proving to ourselves that we can achieve great things.
It's about that sense of accomplishment, that feeling of empowerment.
Exactly. And it's not about being perfect. It's about taking those steps forward, celebrating our wins.
It's about that journey of growth.
And another strategy is cultivating a strong sense of self-worth. When we truly believe in ourselves, it radiates outwards, makes us more confident, more magnetic, more irresistible.
It's about that deep sense of self-love and acceptance that makes us shine.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that we're all unique. We all have something special to offer the world.
It's about owning our power,
Yeah.
embracing our individuality.
Exactly. And what's so inspiring about this book is that it's not about trying to be someone we're not. It's about unleashing, the most authentic and empowered version of ourselves.
Embracing our quirks, celebrating our strengths,
Hmm.
stepping into the world with confidence and grace.
Exactly. And we all have the potential to be unforgettable, to make a lasting impact on the world simply by being true to ourselves.
Okay, before we wrap up our discussion of Fearless and Irresistible, I want to hear your thoughts. What were some of the key takeaways for you? What resonated most deeply?
The reminder that confidence is not something we're born with, it's something we cultivate through practice, through action, through choosing to believe in ourselves even when it feels scary.
It's about facing our fears and proving to ourselves that we're capable of anything.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that our imperfections, our quirks, our vulnerabilities, they're not something to hide. They're what make us unique, relatable, and ultimately unforgettable.
It's about embracing our whole selves,
Yeah.
showing up in the world with authenticity.
Absolutely. And remembering that we're all on a journey. We're all works in progress. And, the most important thing is to keep growing, keep learning, keep striving to become the best versions of
Well,
ourselves.
it sounds like Laura Law Wonder's Fearless and Irresistible. Becoming Unforgettable is a powerful guide to help us do just that. And it wraps up our overview of all 7 of her incredible books.
Wow. Yeah. It's been quite a journey. From managing digital anxiety to building resilient minds to, cultivating love habits to unleashing our fearless and irresistible selves.
What I love about her work is that it's not just theory. She provides practical advice,
Yeah.
actionable steps, inspiring stories that empower readers to create real change.
Absolutely. And she does it with such warmth. You can feel her genuine desire to help.
It's like she's holding up a mirror, reflecting back to us our own worthiness, our capacity for love, our potential for greatness. She reminds us that we're not alone. We all have our struggles and triumphs, and together we can create a world that's more compassionate, more connected, and more fulfilling.
Beautifully said. And I think that's what makes her work so impactful. It's not just about individual transformation, it's about creating this ripple effect.
So as we wrap up part 1 of our deep dive into the world of Laura Law Wonder, I want to encourage you to reflect. What resonated with you most? What themes are you curious about? What insights are you eager to explore further? What action steps are you inspired to take?
Yeah, think about it. Maybe journal about it. Let Laura's words guide you.
Because every page is an opportunity for growth, for empowerment, for creating a life filled with purpose, love, and joy.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
It's great to be back. Last time we went through all 7 of Laura Law Wonder's books. We really got a taste of her approach to self-improvement.
Yeah, we covered a lot. Managing digital anxiety, cultivating intentional listening, building resilience. It's amazing how she just weaves together all this practical advice with personal anecdotes and thought-provoking insights.
It's true. And her books are so engaging, so relatable. You can tell she's speaking from experience, not just like theoretical knowledge.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes her work so powerful. It's not just information, it's inspiration. It's like she's saying, hey, I've been there, I've had these challenges, and here's what helped me. Maybe it can help you too.
Right. It's like having a mentor, a
Uh,
wise friend, guiding you along the way. So as we go deeper into Laura Law Wonder's work, I'm curious to explore some of those common threads, the themes that run through all her books.
That's a great idea, because even though each book focuses on a specific area, they all share a common goal,
Right.
empowering readers to create lives that are full of purpose, joy, and authentic connection.
Yeah, like they're all pieces of a bigger puzzle.
Yeah.
So what are some of those key themes or messages you've noticed?
Well, one that stands out is the importance of mindset. Our thoughts create our reality. So by shifting our perspective, we can transform our experiences.
Right. We can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond.
Exactly. And Laura gives so many tools and strategies for this, like challenging limiting beliefs, practicing gratitude, reframing negative experiences. It's a journey of mental transformation that really affects every aspect of our lives.
It's like she's giving us this mental toolkit, helping us navigate life's challenges.
Exactly.
And speaking of challenges, resilience is another key theme. Life is full of ups and downs. And it's our ability to navigate those that defines us.
Right. Bouncing back,
Yeah.
adapting, finding the strength to keep going.
Yeah. And she provides all these tools for that too.
Yeah.
Mindfulness, self-care, healthy coping mechanisms,
Yeah.
building a strong support system.
Yeah.
So she's like, hey, life is going to throw you curveballs, but here's how to handle them.
Absolutely. And that leads to another theme, self-care. You can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually is so essential.
I love that analogy. It's so true. We can't give to others if we're running on empty. So it's about prioritizing our needs, honoring our boundaries, and making time for things that nourish us.
Exactly. And it's not selfish, it's essential. When we take care of ourselves, we can show up better for others, contribute more.
Right. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity.
And then there's the power of connection. We're not meant to go through life alone.
Those deep connections, they really nourish our souls.
And Lauren gives guidance on how to build those stronger relationships. Intentional listening, expressing appreciation, setting healthy boundaries. Connection's a two-way street. It takes effort and vulnerability.
It's about being present, being open, sharing our hearts and minds, knowing that it enriches our lives and the lives of everyone around us.
Absolutely. And that brings us to purpose. We all have a unique contribution to make.
It's about knowing why we're here,
Yeah.
what our gifts are, how we can use them to make a difference.
Exactly. And she talks about how to discover that purpose, explore your passions, connect with your intuition, take action towards your dreams. It's not something we find, it's something we create.
It's like that inner compass
Mm.
guiding us.
Yeah.
And it's so empowering
Mm.
knowing we have that power within us.
It is. And finally, there's the power of love. It might seem obvious, but her approach to love is really unique. She sees it as this force, this energy.
It's that warmth, that kindness, that compassion that extends to everyone.
Exactly. And she gives advice on how to cultivate it, express it, practicing gratitude, random acts of kindness, being more present.
It's those small intentional acts
Yeah,
that create a more compassionate world.
absolutely. Love is not a finite resource. We can tap into it anytime, just by opening our hearts.
So we've looked at mindset, resilience, self-care, connection, purpose, and love. These themes are woven through all of Lorelei Wonder's work. They guide us on a journey of personal growth and empowerment.
It's like a roadmap for creating a life that feels right, a life that's full of joy, purpose, and connection.
Before we move on to the last part, I want to ask you a question. Which of these themes resonates with you the most right now? What area are you drawn to?
Think about it. What are your aspirations? How can Lorelei Wonder's work inspire you?
It's not just about reading, right? It's about using her wisdom,
Mm.
integrating her teachings, and creating a ripple effect of positivity. Welcome back to the deep dive. As we wrap up, I'm really struck by how interconnected everything is in Laura's approach.
Yeah, I see that too. It's like each book kind of builds on the last one, creating this whole framework for growth.
Exactly. You know, it's funny, I keep thinking back to something Laura mentions in her Amazon bio. She says, "My journey hasn't been without challenges, but it's in those tough times," she says, "that she found the tools to grow and become more aligned with her purpose." And that's what she shares in her books: practical insights, stories, and actionable steps.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that she's not just like talking the talk. She's been there, faced those struggles, and come out on the other side.
And it makes it so much more relatable. It's like she's right there with you.
Totally.
And, thinking about all of her books, it's really hopeful. They don't ignore life's challenges, but they do offer a roadmap for navigating those challenges with resilience and even joy.
Right. It's not about being perfect or pretending everything's easy. It's about embracing it all and finding ways to move through it all with more awareness, purpose, and love.
It's about becoming the best versions of ourselves, not in spite of our imperfections, but because of them.
Yeah, I love that.
And, one thing that sticks with me is her emphasis on small actions, consistent actions. We don't have to change everything overnight.
Yeah.
We can create transformation through those little everyday choices.
Totally. Like practicing gratitude, even just for a few minutes, or setting that digital boundary for an hour, or just offering someone a kind word, it makes a difference.
Right. Even the smallest steps can lead to big changes over time. It's about trusting the process.
And believing that you have the power to make change.
Exactly. That's what Lorelei Wonder's work offers, a toolkit for creating a life that feels aligned with your values, your purpose, your deepest desires. So as we wrap up, I want to encourage you to explore her work. Dive into her world. Let her wisdom be your guide.
Even the smallest actions can create that ripple effect. Take what resonates with you, put it into practice, and see what happens.
Because as Laura reminds us, empowering lives through every page. Let your journey begin.